This is my project on John Cage by Aaron Colling. John Cage has studied under Richard Bulling, Arnold Schoenberg, and Henry Connell. He had started studying under Arnold Schoenberg at UCLA. While teaching in Seattle, he had organized percussion ensembles to perform his compositions. He also experimented with works of dance with choreographer and dancer Merce Cunningham, who then became a longtime creative and romantic partner. He also had collaborated with the artist Robert Rauschenberg. Through work, he had been a dance accompanist at UCLA and also created music for the dance department itself. He then went on to work as a composer and accompanist at the University of Chicago. He settled in New York, where he worked in the music department at Wesleyan University until he died. He taught lectures and wrote music during his time in New York. The genre of music he produced is that of modern contemporary. While working on his compositions, he had experimented with a few different ideas, one of which being the 12-tone method of his teacher, Schoenberg. He also experimented with the prepared piano, tape recorders, record players, and radios. He wanted to step outside of the bounds of conventional Western music. Along with stepping out of the box, he then experimented with Zen Buddhism and other Eastern philosophies, where he concluded that all activities that make up music must be seen as part of a single natural process. The song that just played was that of Summer from his piece, The Seasons. The song was made for a ballet which was choreographed by Merce Cunningham. The ballet was first performed in 1947. This was a lot of firsts for Cage. This was the first time he created a piece for an orchestra and the first time he used the technique he later called the gamut technique, which he called creating a set of sounds. The melody of the song starts out smooth and flows through the intro. This then proceeds to get very sporadic and almost aggressive. The song as a whole does not have a direction, making it a very thorough composition. The harmony has a very sporadic way about it when moving throughout the whole piano, almost using every key, it sounds like. The rhythm in the song is using both the beats and meters, which were fairly sporadic. The changes in both are very unusual as they are so random in the piece itself. Lastly, the texture was definitely more on the interesting side. With the use of only a piano, it is unusual that the texture is so thick, as Cage only used a piano throughout the whole song. The beginning starts pretty thin, but then starts to thicken towards the end. Here, I will compare a song by Peter Gabriel to that of John Cage's. Peter Gabriel was also a contemporary modern musician. Peter Gabriel was also a modern contemporary composer. He started producing songs around the time that John Cage passed away. While Cage has a very unique approach into songs, there are other modern contemporary composers whose songs are very different than that of Cage. Peter Gabriel's songs, With This Love, uses more instruments. He has both wind and string instruments involved in his piece. With that being said, the changes between notes and measures were not as sporadic. Everything had a soft melody and flowed through the notes effortlessly. The texture is thin, even though there are more instruments involved. The song as a whole has a light sound and flows through the notes that are high and low very smoothly. Some other works that Cage is famous for are that of 433, Fontana Mix, The Wonderful Widow of 18 Springs, William Mix, Santana 5, and In a Landscape. Many of these pieces represent his style of music, whereas others show he is capable of so much more than just the gamut technique. Here is one of his other songs that represents a different style of music he is famous for. Dream is one of those songs which is almost the complete opposite of the season's summer piece. It almost reflects more of that style of Peter Gabriel used. He still uses his technique, but is more of a fixed gamut of tones instead of the sporadic ones found in summer. The texture is very thin, along with the soft tones, and flow through the very few notes he decided to use. The song does not change very often, as he uses the same notes and rhythms throughout the whole piece. Lastly, he uses a string instrument right at the end along with the piano. This is different than summer, but also shows what else he is capable of. And here's my works cited.